Hey everyone, welcome to another video in our client education video series. Today we're going to explore the key differences between two popular cabinet renovation options, refinishing and refacing. Whether you're looking to give your kitchen a fresh look or simply enhance its appeal, understanding these options is crucial. So let's dive in. First, I'm going to give you a brief overview of refinishing versus refacing, and then I'll get into the pros and cons of each one. So first, let's talk about refacing. Refacing cabinets involves keeping the existing cabinet framework intact, but replacing the doors, drawer fronts, and usually the hardware. Your existing gable end panels, toe kicks, and fillers will either be replaced or have a laminate material applied to them. The doors are typically a flat slab profile, but some offer a shaker style of door too. Now a bit about refinishing. Refinishing your cabinets is a cost-effective and straightforward way to breathe new life into your kitchen. It involves the respraying of your existing cabinets to make them look like new. During the refinishing process, the cabinet doors and drawers are carefully removed. Next, the old finish on your doors and drawers, crown, toe kicks, etc., is cleaned, prepped, primed, and top coated. The doors and drawers are often done in a shop facility, and your cabinet boxes, etc., can be sprayed on site or rolled for a less invasive and more cost-effective option. Now, let's get into the pros and cons of each, starting with refinishing. Refinishing has a lot of advantages. First, it's more budget-friendly compared to other renovation options such as refacing or replacing cabinets entirely. It's also a more luxurious and high-end look and feel versus refaced cabinets. Refinishing typically takes about 3 to 5 working days in the home, with a few days where the kitchen is out of service if the cabinet elements on site are being sprayed. So it's a fairly quick process. Aesthetically, refinishing will have the most luxurious or high-end look and feel. When hiring a professional refinisher, your friends and family will think you actually got new cabinets. We use the same process and materials on our refinished cabinets as we do on very expensive high-end custom cabinetry that we finish. So you get the same buttery smooth finish that you would see on only the most expensive custom cabinetry. But you have spent less than half the cost of new cabinets. Costs on refinishing can vary. You can spend as little as $3,500 for a small kitchen or up to $15,000 for a very large kitchen. One great way to refinish on a tight budget is to have your on-site elements painted by hand instead of sprayed. This will not have as good of an aesthetic result, but it'll work for tight budgets and usually requires no downtime for the kitchen. Now, generally speaking, if you don't want to replace your doors, you'll often find that refinishing can be the cheaper option. And when considering refinishing versus replacing your cabinetry, refinishing allows you to maintain the same cabinet layout and hardware, saving you from potential plumbing or electrical modifications. It saves you weeks or months on your project timeline and thousands of dollars on new cabinets. Refinishing also gives you an unlimited range of color options, and you can even replace your doors with any style should you want to completely update your kitchen. There are also possibilities of various sheens for your finish. Now, while we don't recommend an extremely high gloss sheen for refinishing, you do still have options. So stylistically, refinishing is the most versatile. One extremely important thing to consider is that your cabinets get more use and abuse than anything else in your home. This is something that I will say in every video. So it's important to know what your options are should damage or wear inevitably happen. With refinishing, touch-ups could not be easier. At Cabinet Painting Vancouver, we leave clients with touch-up paint and also offer free annual touch-ups along with our lifetime warranty. Even if more extensive damage happens on a piece of cabinetry, we can simply take it back to the shop, respray it, and reinstall it. So with refinishing, you know you don't have to worry when your kids, pets, or significant others go crazy in the kitchen. On the durability front, refinishing also has an advantage. If your existing drawers or doors are wood, they will stand up much better over time to water and steam than refaced doors with an MDF or particle board core. Refaced doors swell once water gets in, and the problem becomes quickly worsened over time. Additionally, when refinishing cabinets, the coating won't have a tendency to peel, warp, or lift like laminate or thermofoil doors when water damage or wear and tear are excessive. The finish will more likely chip or flake, which is easily touched up. Laminated or thermofoil doors will need to be completely replaced, and that's assuming the company you hired is still willing and able to do that, as products may become unavailable or the color is not consistent with what was originally installed. One final consideration is how much waste is created in the process of revamping your kitchen. Here, refinishing is the clear winner. We are simply reusing or upcycling your existing kitchen. A little paint and some highly skilled labor is all that's needed. With refacing, you'll be adding all of your doors and drawers and potentially other components like gables to the landfill. If those doors were originally made of hardwood like maple or oak or cherry, you're discarding wood from hardwood trees that took over 40 years to mature and replacing it with lower quality MDF or particle board doors. Also, some of the wood glues used to make MDF and particle board products contain formaldehyde. This is carcinogenic and will off-gas into your home if it's present in the door material. Now let's talk about some of the reasons refinishing your cabinets might not be for you. First, let's talk about your total budget. If you really hate your door style or the doors and drawers are beyond repair, then you might find that refacing is the cheaper option. This is because new laminated doors can be made more cheaply than a new painted door. So if you must replace your doors and drawers and budget is your biggest concern, you should speak to a reputable refacing company and at least compare quotes to those of refinishing companies. Another budgetary issue to consider is that hiring a professional refinisher who will provide a beautiful and, most importantly, long-lasting finish may not be as cheap as you think. Some people might think of painting cabinets as akin to hiring a residential wall painter and think, it's just labor, a brush and a roller and some paint. That'll be about $500, right? Wrong. Cabinet refinishing is a completely different specialty, and the skills, tools, and materials are all costly to employ. Refinishing costs can average around $5,000 to $7,000 for a small to medium-sized kitchen and can go upwards of $10,000 or more for large kitchens. This won't be drastically different than refacing, but it is generally not a cheap band-aid solution as some might imagine. Lastly, let's talk about durability. Assuming you've hired a dedicated refinishing professional who is using a two-component catalyzed waterborne or solvent-borne product, you will have great stain and scratch resistance on the cabinets. However, most laminate products used in refacing are made of hardened plastics. These can have slightly better chip and stain resistance. Now, keep in mind they're also not possible to touch up should you have damage, but you may be able to give them a little bit more use and abuse before any scratches or stains appear. The last thing to consider is that with refinishing, you are bound to a solid color finish, like this. You won't be able to achieve the look of natural wood, like this. So if that's what you're after, you may want to consider refacing. Now let's move on to refacing. Refacing cabinets involve keeping the existing cabinet framework intact, but replacing the doors, drawer fronts, and sometimes the hardware. Your cabinet boxes, gables, toe kicks, etc. will then have a laminate or veneer applied to them that matches the doors and drawers. During refacing, the old door and drawer fronts are removed and new ones made of materials like veneer, laminate, or thermofoil are installed. The exposed cabinet frames are covered with a matching veneer or laminate. And lastly, your new or existing handles will be installed, completing the new look. Refacing offers a significant aesthetic upgrade. With a wide range of materials, colors, and styles available, you can easily upcycle your cabinets. It's also a less intrusive and costly process compared to cabinet replacement, which would also require addressing the countertops, backsplash, etc. in your kitchen. So budget-wise, it may be the same or slightly more than cabinet refinishing, but if you know you definitely want to replace your doors and drawers and are okay with a flat or shaker profile of door, you may find it's cheaper than ordering new doors in a painted finish and having your existing cabinet boxes also refinished. Refacing can also be slightly faster than refinishing, depending on the provider and their process, of course. It typically requires only a day or two of downtime for your kitchen as the laminate is applied to your existing cabinets. Another advantage of refacing is that you will, by default, be getting new doors. So you have the option of a flat panel door or possibly a shaker style door if you opt for thermofoil. Durability is one of the main advantages of refacing, as the hard plastics used in most laminates are quite durable and will resist scratches and stains well over time. If you opt for a wood veneer, the cost will be significantly higher, and durability will be less as there is a thinner scratch layer and it is more easily damaged. But the look of a real wood veneer is generally more desirable than a laminate made of plastics. Aesthetically, refacing will provide a sleek and modern look with its flat panel doors, and it's also possible to use laminates that look like a natural wood surface. So if you like the Scandinavian design trend of mixing wood grain cabinets with a neutral color like white on some of the other cabinets, you'll be in luck with refacing. You also have a full range of handle and knob choices, so you can update those elements at the same time. There are definitely some issues to be aware of with cabinet refacing, so I'll explain them here. While we talked about the great durability of most of the laminates used in refacing, the downside is that once damaged, and every kitchen will ultimately have some damage, there is no ability to touch up or spot repair the finish. That means that you're stuck with it, or you have to chase down whomever did the install and see if they will take the time to replace a door or two. And you have to hope that the material you used however many years ago is still in stock and that there's no significant color variations versus your existing doors. So lack of repair remedies for issues down the road is a big factor. Another issue is that your doors will either have a core of MDF or particle board. Both swell when in contact with water, and once the laminate has cracked or opened to allow water or steam to enter, it gets worse very quick. If you had instead chosen to refinish your existing solid wood doors, this wouldn't be an issue. Depending on the skill of the installer, you may also find that the laminate will lift or come unglued from the cabinets over time, especially where heat or steam are present. Aesthetically, you'll also have some limitations with refacing. It won't have nearly the luxurious look or feel of a painted finish, as the materials are generally made of plastics and look and feel as plastics would. Generally speaking, you'll also only have a choice of a few door styles. Flat slab doors will give you the widest range of material choices, but has a very pronounced modern aesthetic. This may not work in homes with character like crown molding and higher levels of detail. If you opt for thermofoil doors, you can have the option of a shaker door or a beveled shaker door. Thermofoil is essentially a hard plastic that is heat wrapped onto an MDF core. It conforms to the shape of the shaker door but doesn't have sharp edges on the inside of the shaker profile, as the material has a hard time conforming to 90-degree angles. The biggest issue we see with thermofoil is that the glue that is used to keep the thermofoil on the door is heat activated, and the product can warp with heat or steam. So we've seen hundreds of kitchens where doors near the oven, kettle, or in areas with water, heat, or steam have issues. The heat reactivates the glue, and the finish itself lifts, warps, or cracks. The MDF is then exposed, which will quickly start to swell and degrade. There are some companies that now offer vinyl products heat wrapped onto your cabinets in a similar fashion. We do not recommend these products for the same reason. The finishes are actually thinner than thermofoil and more malleable than thermofoil. With heat or steam present, they will have a greater potential to fail. I've actually personally been to a product demonstration for some of these heat-applied vinyl finishes, and I found them extremely susceptible to failure due to heat and steam. There's one more consideration regarding aesthetics when refacing. While there's a fairly good selection of colors, styles, and finishes with refacing, you are limited to the products and colors on offer. This can make it difficult to make sure your new cabinet style will work with the rest of your home. You don't have an unlimited selection of colors like you do with refinishing, so you may find yourself compromising with a color or style that isn't quite right for your space. The cost of refacing will often be more than refinishing, assuming you aren't replacing your doors and refinishing your cabinets. This is because new doors are always required, and there's a fairly significant cost to consider there on top of the labor and materials required to wrap your cabinet elements on site. Now that we've explored both options, we hope you'll be able to make an informed decision on which path is right for you. I know I covered a lot of info in this video, so here's a quick recap of the pros and cons of each option. If you're in the Vancouver area and you would like to pursue cabinet refacing, we would be happy to point you in the direction of some fantastic local providers of that service. feel free to reach out and let us know. And no matter which way you decide to upcycle your cabinets, we want to thank you for considering both options as they help us achieve our company's core mission of reducing unnecessary waste in the construction industry.